Hi, this is Isabel Florence, and you are listening to You Are Light podcast, a safe space where we talk about mental health and well-being. Hello, my lovely light being. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about feeling lost. I think this is something that creeps in every now and again in everyone's lives. I've had so many friends of mine struggle with this feeling. My clients, my family, everyone that I know, I think have struggled with this once in their lifetime. And so it's normal. And that's, I think, the first thing to acknowledge is how natural it is to feel like that now and again. I'm going to go into what it is that makes us arrive in this feeling and also what can we do about it. So let me give you some context. I had this feeling this Wednesday. Today is Saturday. So a few days ago, I was overwhelmed with this feeling and I feel so much better today. I had a therapy session the next day and it clarified everything to me. And this is why I want to talk about it, because I want to help anyone that might feel like this, or give tools for all of you to be able to give advice to your loved ones. I think whenever we go through huge changes in our life, it makes us question everything. It makes us compare the life that we have now with the lives that we lived before. It makes us question our identity within relationships as well as within your work, and your stability is shaken. So now I understand that it was a very natural feeling for me to feel after so much change in my life. I also spent the last 6 months very busy, which then meant that I didn't really have the time to stop and think about my goals. And it took me a while to be able to arrive where I am. When you make such a transition as moving country, it takes a really long time to be able to form new connections in a new place, to understand your role within the community, to understand your role within the relationships around you, even relationships that might have existed before you moved. But because you're near, it changes everything. It takes a while to form the right habits for the space, the right routines. I also threw myself into a new career. And so I had some time where I needed to just learn what I was doing and get good at this new job. So there's been a lot of change and a lot of movement, physical and mental movement, which meant that I was too busy doing everything to stop and understand, what is it that I'm actually going after? What is it that I want for my life? And I am already someone who takes a lot of time to question myself these things. So I can understand how natural it is for everyone to have periods in their lives where they just feel overwhelmed and lost, confused about who they are. It takes so much time for us to start understanding what it is that our priorities are in life. And it's not a path with a direct ending, because these priorities change as we grow and as we ourselves change. So there's so many interesting things happening with me now. So many interesting transformations, and with every ending there's a rebirth of a new identity, and it's exciting. Now I understand that it's exciting. But on Wednesday I felt very overwhelmed. So I want to explore this idea of feeling lost. Where does it come from, and how can we nurture it and help ourselves in situations like this? So here are the reasons why most people feel lost at any point in their lives. One is when you finally find the time to ponder about life, to question yourself, to think about your goals. And a very clear example of this is the pandemic. When we started having lockdowns was a crucial moment of self-reflection for a lot of people. It was a period of time where a lot of people decided to change careers, to move out of a city, to focus more on their relationships rather than their work. So when you're in the constant movement of life, daily to-dos, you don't really have the time to think about these questions. So having the privilege of that time is one of the reasons why you might feel it. Another one is transitions and changes in your life. Just like I said, it happened to me. If anyone has a major change in their lives, it makes them question their identity. It makes them think about their place in the community, in their relationships, in their work. And as your base is shaken, it makes you question things. Another thing is comparison. I felt like I was observing what everyone around me was doing and comparing myself to those things, experiencing a little bit of envy here and there, and wondering whether that's a path that I would want to take, a path that someone else has chosen for themselves. I think comparison also comes very naturally to us nowadays because of social media. People share their highlights naturally, and companies, of course. And so we are comparing our full self and our full life, the good and the bad, with people's good. And that makes you feel less than. It makes you feel lost. It makes you feel like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not reaching my potential the way that I see someone reaching theirs? But it's not as black and white, as we know. It's not as simple as that. We're all individuals. We're all unique. So we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to anyone else. Another thing that might make you feel lost is fear of failure, because it stops you from taking the steps towards where you want. I know that there is a force that I feel against me when I start something new, because I want it to be perfect and there's no such thing. So being willing to just try it, whatever it is, being willing to at whatever it is that you're going to do is crucial when it comes to going after the things that you want in life. Another thing that might end up making you feel lost is having choice paralysis. And this is something very present in our lives nowadays. The world has changed so much with the internet. You have the ability to work in so many different industries. Your path is not traced before you the way that it used to be, as someone would just decide to do what their parents did. Our world now is smaller because we are able to travel more easily, and there is so much information online. So it's natural to feel lost when you have so many options, so many passions, so many interests. And this is something that I experience quite a lot. So all of these things that happen to us make us feel a little bit lost, and the feeling is natural. Now, what is it that we can do about this feeling? How can we change our mindset? How can we transform this experience towards a more wholesome and kind to yourself experience? I think the first thing that we should do is to recognize that you are going through change. You wouldn't be having these feelings if you weren't transforming into the new self that you are becoming. And that is beautiful. That is exciting. Understand that maybe you had to dedicate yourself to other things in your life before, and that didn't give you the time to consider your life, to consider your identity and your purpose. The second thing you need to do is understand that this is a normal feeling. Not judge yourself for feeling it. Recognize that everyone felt like this once in their life, even the people that we adore and idolize. The third thing that you can do is understand what a privilege it is to be able to ask yourself these questions, to ponder about these things, to experience this feeling, because it means that you are not blind to how capable you are. It shows you that you want to become the best version of yourself, or that you want to explore your potential as much as you can. That is something that not everyone experiences. If you are questioning yourself about where you are, where you're going, it means that you have a true drive towards a better life, towards squeezing as much juice out of yourself, out of your talents and your skills. That's wonderful. It's the first step towards transformation and improvement. Then what you need to do is define very clearly what it is that you are lacking in your life, and therefore what is it that you want to work towards. So you only feel this sense of discomfort about where you are when you believe that there is something else that you're not being able to grab, being able to achieve. And so what is it that's missing? Really take your time to try and understand it. And then you have to define the goal that you want to achieve, and then schedule tasks that are going to take you towards that goal. Understanding what the goal is doesn't do anything. Planning for it doesn't do anything. You need to actually schedule time to focus on it. And it might be the case where the goal changes, or you get to half of it and you understand that this is actually not what I want, but you will be improving yourself in the way. And wherever it takes you, that's where you should be. That's where you should go. You also need to have patience, and that's something that I struggle with. When I think of a project, I want the results instantaneously, but I can't get them because it takes time to build things. It takes time. It's very easy to look at people who accomplish things and assume that they did it very quickly on their first try, and that's not the case. So practice patience. Focus on the process. Another thing that is really important to remember is that even though you are going through change, going through transformation of your identity of who you are, doesn't mean that you're not bringing all of the lessons that you have learned in the past with you. Everything that you have been in your life is still present within you. I go through this experience quite a lot where I will have very big shifts in my life, and then it means that I forget about everything that I have done before, everything that I've accomplished, everything that I have been, even the people that I have had in my life. But it's important to stay aware of how much you have gone through, how much you have learned in the past. The lessons are still with you. The skills that you have learned, you're bringing all of them with you. Everything that you have built, it's still with you. Then you can share how you feel with people around you. This really helps. For me, it's my therapist and my partner, sometimes my family and my friends. It's so amazing to have someone who has an outside perspective give you some guidance. They have a different way of looking at your situation. Sometimes that's all we need. And the last thing that I think is really important, maybe the most important thing to do when these shifts, these adaptations, these adjustments, these remolding of the self happen, is to take some time listening to yourself. Take some time away from the noise of everyone else in society. I find myself sometimes constantly listening to either a podcast, a TV show, watching a movie, reading a book, having input in my life constantly. It's important to pause everyone else's opinion, everyone else's advice, to listen to your own, because there is wisdom within us that we don't even recognize. We don't even know its power, but it's all in there. You've got all the answers that you need within. What are your values? What are your strengths? What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you feel you are lacking? What is your priority? What do you want your life to look like? The fact that we listen to people's opinions constantly nowadays with TikTok or podcasts, music, means that we forget what we want. So take some time in silence to listen to your thoughts, to ask yourself these questions, to journal, to be creative and paint or draw, to go for a walk without listening to something. And always remember that these feelings are natural, they're normal. It means that you are growing, you are transforming, you are reshaping yourself within and without. My life has gone from one extreme to the other. Just because I feel this loss sometimes of my previous identities. Doesn't mean that I don't prefer the life that I have right now, because it is so much more rich in time spent in nature, in health and well-being, in deeper relationships that sometimes can be challenging, which means that I'm facing growth. A life that is so much more connected to who I really am. So if you feel that feeling of being lost, it doesn't mean that on the other side there isn't peace and groundedness and security in who you are. That's how I feel today, and it's a beautiful feeling. I want you to feel it as well, because you are everything that you need. You are beautiful as you are, and I love you very much. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening. All the links are written down on the show notes, as well as resources for anyone struggling with their mental health. Don't forget to subscribe so you're notified when we release new episodes. Also, feel free to share our podcast with your friends and family. And if you'd like to get involved, explore our content, or support our work, visit our website www.yourlight.earth. That's YOUR-light.earth. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at u.r.light. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.